Hey guys, it's Katya and welcome. Thanks for jumping on. I'm excited to see you all. The sun is slowly setting and I am in Venice. I don't know if you can see, I'm on the roof of my friend's store. She has a little store called the Mar Vista Art Department. So if you guys are ever on the west side, come check it out. But this is not a Mar Vista Art Department promotion. But nonetheless, it's an amazing store. So if you're in Mar Vista, definitely go check it out. It's an awesome also event space. So if you want to host a workshop, you can do that there. But that is not what we're going to be talking about today. Today, I want to talk about the number one mistake that all men make, well, let's just say most men make, that keep them from really getting follow-up dates with high-quality women. And what I mean by follow-up dates is, going on second or third dates and beyond. Hey, Kylie, thanks for watching. Gerald, where are my glasses? I don't have them in this episode. I'm not Professor Katya today, just Beach Bum Katya today. So that's what we're going to be talking about, is what is the mistake that men make that keep them from going on follow-up dates with high-quality women. So one of the things that I've noticed, and I notice this a lot with my clients, and I notice this with guys just in general, is that often guys will put women on a pedestal. So they'll put them up on a pedestal, and this is one of the ways that guys really shoot themselves in the foot with women that they're most interested in, because when you put a woman in a pedestal, often what comes with that is you start to put them in a category of she's out of my league. Hey Tim, welcome. Thanks for joining. And the tricky part about this is that often guys do this unconsciously. They put women on a pedestal. They kind of put her in this category of out of my league, or let's see here. There was another thing that my client said earlier today that just really kind of struck me. Oh, out of my reach. That this woman that he was talking to was out of his reach. And so the tricky part about this is that guys often do this unconsciously. They don't really know that they're doing this. So today I really want to talk about how to kind of bring that to light and stop doing that. And I'll tell you why it's important for you to stop doing that as well. So if you really want to make a lasting impression on the women you're most interested in, and if it's really important to understand if you want to stop guessing why high quality women don't want to go on follow-up dates with you. So if you're finding like, oh, I'm going on a lot of first dates, but I don't get a lot of second dates, and you want to stop guessing as to why you're not getting second dates, I'm also going to illuminate that for you in this video. And of course, this is really important if you want to easily get second and third dates with the women that you want, that you most desire, and get past the beginning stages of dating and onto building a relationship, which is what we all want, right? We want to actually not spend the rest of our lives dating. We want to get into a relationship, get into something meaningful with someone that we love, and have intimacy and have hot sex and all that good stuff, right? So that's why it's really important to actually not put women in the category of out of your league. So here's the thing. Women want to see the multifacets of who you are, and when you're putting a woman on a pedestal, she won't see who you are, because more than likely what you're doing when you're putting her on a pedestal is you're making yourself small in the process. So you're making her kind of like bigger than life, and then you're making yourself small, you're diminishing yourself. So I'll give you an example. I had a client who, was talking with a woman, and he was we had kind of discussed having this specific conversation with her where he was going to share something vulnerable and that involved her. And so he's having this conversation with her. He's kind of opening up to her. He's, you know, being bold, being courageous. And during the conversation, she kind of like cuts it off. Like she cuts it off very abruptly for whatever reason. It's not really important. That's her own thing, right? But she cuts it off. And instead of, you know, like really just stopping and saying, hey, I get you. I get like that maybe you don't want to talk about this, but I really need to talk about this. This is important to me. He also decides to move on. He kind of defers that, yes, she's right. This isn't important. We shouldn't talk about this. And he ends the conversation. And in the process, what he's also doing is like, oh, you know, like, again, making more assessments. Like what she's saying isn't that interesting. What he's saying isn't that interesting. So again, he cuts off the conversation. And then what happens is that he ends up not really feeling heard in that conversation. And she doesn't really actually get to receive what he wanted to say. And it's important to not overstep these things. So the reason I'm pointing this out too is like, notice whenever you're making a woman bigger than life and you're making smaller, then these kinds of things happen where something, you're about to say something vulnerable, you're about to express yourself, and maybe it doesn't go as planned, and so you shut it down, you shut the conversation down. It's important to not overstep these kind of seemingly small moments because they add up. So what do I mean by they add up? Every time you don't allow yourself to fully express yourself, to voice your opinion, or have yourself be heard about whatever it is. Maybe it's something important that you want to share. Maybe it's something that you're really passionate about, or maybe it's something that you're pointing out about the dynamic between the two of you that's important for you to communicate. What happens when you don't do that, when you make yourself small, is that more and more of your personality gets missed in the interaction, and ultimately you aren't able to leave a lasting impression on this person. Hey Lonnie, thanks for the love. Yeah, if you guys are liking this video, please give me a thumbs up or give me a heart. Thank you. So let's talk about what you can do instead. Okay, let's talk about how to make a lasting impression so you can go on more dates. First, you want to identify what's getting in the way of that, right? And what we're talking about in this particular video is you want to get out of the way first, the thing that you're doing that isn't really working, that's getting in the way of the connection. So you want to identify that there's a part of you there that's constantly judging and assessing and comparing yourself to the women you date. Now you may think, yeah, I don't really resonate with that, or maybe there's some shame around doing that. I know that I recently experienced, I had this like huge aha about how often when I start dating someone, I kind of like size them up, and then I size myself up, and then I'm kind of like, okay, are their strengths going to match up for my weaknesses, and can they accept me for my weaknesses? Like I didn't even realize that I had all of this internal dialogue going on within me. So what I want to first share is that like this is a very natural part of being human. We are wired to not just assess women, not just assess in our dating lives, we're wired to assess everywhere all the time. We're constantly making judgments, constantly making assessments. This is a very natural part of being human. We are assessing machines. Hey Yoko, hey Greg, hey Robin, what's up girl? So notice the judgments that you have about yourself, both good and bad. Notice the assessments you have about the women you are meeting, both good and bad. Now, what do I mean by assessments and judgments? Well, I definitely want you to look within you and of course check in as to your unique kind of flavor of assessments, but I'm going to give you some examples to help you along. So for instance, one of the things that often guys say is like, oh, you know, she's so beautiful, she's never gonna go for a guy like me. That is an assessment where you're putting this person up above you and you below down here. Yeah. Or maybe yours is, I'm not quite where I want to be in my life. Maybe that means financially, or I don't know, whatever that looks like for you. And she's probably looking for a guy with more stability or something like that, right? So again, you're making an assessment about you, and you're making an assessment about what she could possibly want. Excuse me. You know, or maybe the assessment is, I'm still working on some issues that I have, and I'm on this new path of personal growth. Or I don't know, maybe you just got out of a divorce and you're not quite emotionally stable, and then you make the assessment about her that she's kind of too buttoned up for you, right? So again, what we're doing right now is just addressing the natural judgments and assessments that guys have whenever they're dating. My girlfriend gave a really good one to me earlier. She said, you know, she hears a lot of guys say, oh, there's probably a ton of guys that go after her. Why would she want me? I know that that's a big one, especially with the, you know, really attractive women that quite clearly have a lot of competition around them. Yeah. So notice what your assessments are, and if you'd like, actually go ahead and comment what those are for you. And it's really powerful to actually notice what's going on in your head when you're with a woman, or you're about to go on a date, or yeah. And so the next thing that you want to do is you want to start to get curious instead of making assessments. Get curious about who this person is. If she's talking about her career, and let's say how, you know, that she has this high-powered career and she makes great money and she's got a lot going, or she has like a huge social circle, instead of going, oh, I don't have that, or I'm not there yet, instead get curious about who she is and dig a little bit deeper. Ask her questions, get curious and probe. And that will start to naturally set aside these assessments and judgments that you have. Now, again, what I want to point out to you is that when you do this, when you get switched to curiosity instead of assessment, you're actually you're doing something really amazing in the conversation. You're actually reconnecting with that person, because when you are making judgments and assessments, you typically are cutting yourself off from this person, and you're actually cutting off your curiosity. So you're cutting off the connection and you're cutting off the curiosity. So instead, we want to restore that curiosity, right? And then finally, what you want to do, so that's the step number 2, right? And finally, the final step that I would really recommend, and this is something that you could do in your own time. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Joseph. Hey, James. Welcome. Aren't these succulents really beautiful? My friends built this like thing on the roof, and they all water themselves. How awesome. So the final step to really letting go of this kind of comparing mind, letting go of putting women on a pedestal, and instead viewing women as your equal, is something that I want you to do in your own time. I want you to actually make a list of what you value about yourself. What do you value about yourself, both inside and out? Maybe it's something about the way that you look. Of course, along with that, you want to look inwards and see what it is that you value about yourself inside, right? Like maybe you're someone who's really strong, or maybe you're a systems thinker. Most of my the guys that I've dated are like big picture systems thinkers, and I find that to be really attractive in men. Look at the things that you value about yourself. Maybe you've accomplished a lot in your life. Make a list of all of your accomplishments. And what else? What else could you possibly value about yourself? There's a lot. Like maybe you are someone who's really authentic and vulnerable. That is an incredible value to have, right? That's an incredible, valuable thing to have. So make a list of what you value about yourself. Again, both inside and out, both big and small. Try to leave no stone unturned. And if you're getting stuck, I'm going to ask you to do something even a little bit more risky, is go to your friends and ask your friends, what do you think is great about me? Your friends are going to give you an honest answer, and you actually have to listen and believe them and then write down what they're saying. So if you can't think of anything, go ask your friends. They're a really good place to ask. And of course, you want to have good friends who like genuinely love you and want to give you positive feedback. And so why would we do this? Well, the more you can view yourself as an equal to the women that you meet, the more you know who you are and what you bring to the table, the more you're going to show up as someone who's confident. And the more you're going to actually compliment your partner, because you bring different things to the table. You have different strengths than probably the women that you're dating. That was the last thing that you want to add to your list of what you value about yourself is, what do you value about yourself in relationship? Like maybe you're someone who's really compassionate. Maybe you're a really great listener. Maybe you're really generous. Like what is it that you bring to the table, not just as an individual, but to a relationship as a partner? Okay. Excuse me. I've kind of fallen off the map. I've been sick for the last 5 days, and this is me finally coming out of my cave. Yeah, and so that's the final step. So when you do this, and if you want, actually go ahead and comment in the comments and let me know what is awesome about you. Share with me one thing that's really awesome about you. And so when you do this, you'll notice that you'll be a lot more relaxed. Sorry for the sirens. On the dates that you're on. You'll notice that you'll feel more self-expressed. You might even have more fodder for conversation because you'll be talking into the things that make you valuable. Not saying, oh, I'm so valuable, but demonstrating your value by talking about your experiences, your life experience, your talents, your hobbies, whatever it is that you're into. And the women that you're with will also probably feel a lot more heard by you, because you're not sitting there in your head kind of trying to judge and assess the situation, judge and assess what's happening between you, and how good is she and how good are you, and all of that stuff that actually gets in the way of you really being present when you're with someone that you want to get to know. And then of course, once you're able to connect on this deeper level, you'll find that, getting follow-up dates will be easier. It'll be a no-brainer, and you'll find yourself, no longer guessing if a woman wants to see you again, because you'll feel that connection between the two of you. You know what it's like to feel really connected to someone. Lonnie says, honest, extremely loyal, thoughtful, and a natural desire to care for my companion. That's awesome. Those are like incredible things to have. That's super valuable. So that's it for today's video. If you have any, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up or give me a heart. I'd love to see some hearts. And comment as well, what is it that you want to hear about in the next one? What do you want to hear about? What do you want to learn? What questions do you have? And of course, if you really want to a personalized strategy of how to put this into action, thank you for the likes. Hey Shayla. If you want a personalized strategy, like how do you put this into action? How do you really observe your own limiting beliefs? Go ahead and shoot me a private message, and we can chat and jump on the phone and see if dating coaching is the right fit for you. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your questions. Have an amazing, amazing evening. Let's see if the sun is low enough yet. Yeah, it's coming down. Have an amazing night, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.